finally approved, Evelin's long-awaited breakthrough after 3 years of waiting for most people. Traveling is just another part of life, boarding passes, passport stamps, and long airport lines that eventually lead somewhere exciting. But for Evelin Villegas, one of the most unforgettable personalities from 90 Day Fiance, the other way, traveling had become a distant dream. For 5 long years, she had been unable to even set foot in the United States. Not for vacation, not for a reunion, not even for a brief layover. Nothing. To the outside world, she was a confident, stubborn, beach-loving Ecuadorian woman who challenged every stereotype on the show. But behind the scenes, there was a softer version of Evelin, one who carried quiet fears, heavy hopes, and a long list of unanswered questions about her future with Corey. And then, finally, after applications, rejections, missing paperwork, endless emails, interviews delayed by the pandemic, travel restrictions, embassy closures, and 3 years of waiting for a single decision, it happened. She was approved. The word alone didn't just bring relief, it brought tears, laughter, shock, and a brand new chapter that neither she nor Corey ever expected. A promise stuck in limbo back in 2019. Evelin joked that traveling to the US felt like trying to win the lottery. You applied, you prayed, and you hoped the universe didn't laugh in your face. It became a running joke between her and Corey. Someday, he'd say with that persistent optimism he was famous for, "Yeah, someday," she'd repeat, half smiling, half rolling her eyes. But by 2021, the joke wasn't funny anymore. While Corey could move freely between countries, Evelin was stuck in Ecuador, unable to experience the world with her husband the way they had always imagined. She missed seeing where he grew up, missed meeting his childhood friends, missed sharing the holidays with his family. Their marriage, already complicated on-screen, felt stretched across 2 entirely different realities off-screen. And every year, the question loomed larger: would she ever be allowed to go? The interview that never came when the couple finally submitted her paperwork, meticulously prepared, double-checked, and assembled like a fragile puzzle. They were told the only thing left was the final interview, the moment that could clear her name, prove her eligibility, and give her the green light. But then, nothing. Months turned into years, dates were postponed, emails went unanswered. Twice, the embassy moved her appointment due to backlogs and administrative delays. Another time, a power outage in Ecuador delayed the entire office's operations for nearly a week. Every time she got her hopes up, something canceled them. Corey tried to keep the faith, Evelin tried to keep her cool. But as 2024 rolled into 2025, even their patience began to run dangerously thin. "We've waited 3 years for this," Corey kept saying. 3 years for one conversation. "And I'm done," Evelin replied more than once. "If they cancel again, I'm done." The day everything changed, the morning of her interview, Evelin woke up before sunrise, not because she wanted to, but because she hadn't slept at all. Everyone who knew her understood that Evelin was fearless, except when it came to bureaucracy. She would rather surf during a storm than fill out government paperwork. But this day wasn't just paperwork. It wasn't just an appointment. It was her life. She put on a simple white blouse, tied her hair back neatly, and tried to calm her shaking hands. Corey held them gently as they waited outside the embassy. "It's going to be okay," he whispered. But the truth was, even he wasn't sure. When her name was finally called, Evelin felt her chest tighten. She walked inside, sat down, and faced the moment that had been 5 years in the making. The officer's questions came fast. "How long have you been married? Do you have proof of residency? Why have you not traveled since 2019? Can you confirm your intentions in the United States?" Evelin answered each one honestly, calmly, but firmly. At one point, her voice trembled, but she kept going. She talked about her marriage, her business, her life in Ecuador, and her desire to visit the US, without fear, obstacles, or restrictions. And then, after reviewing her documents one last time, the officer looked up. There was a small pause, a pause that felt like the entire world had stopped spinning. "And then, you're approved." Just like that. 2 words. 5 years of waiting, 3 years of uncertainty, countless nights of stress. Everything changed in a single moment. The tears she didn't expect to shed when Evelin walked out of the embassy. Corey jumped up from his seat, searching her face. For a second, she kept a straight expression, typical Evelin, always building suspense, but then her lips trembled. "Approved," she whispered. Corey didn't even let her finish. He grabbed her, hugged her tightly, and spun her around like they had just won the reality TV version of the World Cup. Evelin laughed through tears she didn't even realize were falling. You see? Corey said breathlessly. I told you. I told you. Shut up, she said, wiping her cheeks, smiling harder than she had in months. You were right this time. For Corey, it was the moment he'd been hoping for since the day he first brought Evelyn into his world. For Evelyn, it was the moment she finally felt free. Celebration in true Evelyn style word spreads fast in a small coastal town, and by sundown, everyone knew Evelyn didn't plan a big party, but her friends, family, and neighbors had other ideas. The beach lights were strung up, reggaeton music blasted from a speaker someone dragged onto the sand, a bonfire was lit, cocktails were mixed, someone even set off fireworks, completely unplanned, slightly illegal, totally perfect. Evelyn walked onto the beach to cheers and applause, rolling her eyes at the attention but unable to hide her grin. To Evelyn, someone shouted. To the United States, another added. To paperwork finally behaving, someone else joked. Even Evelyn laughed at that one. She stood next to Corey, watching the sky sparkle, feeling for the first time like everything was falling into place instead of falling apart. This is the beginning, Corey said softly. It better be, she replied, nudging him. I waited long enough. What her approval really means for Evelyn. Getting approved wasn't just about traveling, it was about reclaiming control of her life. It meant she could finally visit Corey's hometown. She could meet his extended family in person, not over glitchy FaceTime calls. She could travel without fear of being denied boarding or deported mid-route. She could explore the world the way she had always wanted. She could finally live and love beyond the borders that had kept her stuck for years.